Trek Beyond, the third installment in what is the alternative timeline in the Star Trek franchise. This time directed by Justin Lin. J.J. Abrams, having directed the previous two movies, he was brought into the franchise in 2009 to reboot the Star Trek franchise, and I really like the way they went about it, which was with the alternative timeline. And I really like those first two movies in what is the alternative timeline. But this time we have Justin Lin. He's directed a couple of Fast and Furious films. I've not seen them, not yet anyway. But I really liked what he did with this film. I'm just going to get this straight out there. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it, and it's really exciting. I wasn't one of these people who seen the trailers and was like, oh... Because I kind of liked the trailers. I didn't like the music they had attached to the first trailer, but I could tell by just watching them that this film was going to be exciting. So I wasn't kind of like, when I went into this film, and I wasn't kind of taken aback or shocked, because I kind of had a feeling that this film was going to be entertaining, but I didn't expect myself to be as entertained as I was by this film, because I'm a big Trekkie anyway, but this movie was just so enjoyable. It left me with this really kind of warm, fuzzy, nostalgic feeling right throughout. And I left the film feeling a little bit emotional. I also want to quickly just mention the marketing campaign. When it comes to the posters, right? These posters, I really like these posters for this film. Again, giving you that sort of nostalgic feeling, because they kind of go back to that original poster when they first had the first Star Trek movie, and I just really like these posters, especially this one. I just really like this poster, and I think if it was to do a top 10 list of my favorite posters of the year, these posters are very likely going to be in that list. So all the cast from the previous two movies return to reprise their roles in this one. Again, I think the casting was perfect back from the first film back in 2009. I think they all do a really great job in, not just kind of recreating these characters that were created by the originals like William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, but they also bring their own sort of touch to these characters. Zachary Quinto as Spock, I think he's amazing, but he not also kind of he doesn't also kind of perform the role like Leonard Nimoy does, but he also adds his own little touch to it. Same goes for Chris Pine. There's a lot of William Shatner in his performance. I think he's absolutely great, but there's also a lot of himself in the performance as well. Obviously adding his own sort of touch to the character, and I think he's great as Captain Kirk. Same for Karl Urban as Bones. To me, that's the one that always makes me smile when I'm watching Karl Urban perform as Bones. He adds so much of what was that original character, and again adding his own touch to the character and adding his own sort of thing to the performance. But he's absolutely great as Bones. Another great casting choice I always thought was Anton Yelchin as Chekhov. I absolutely loved him as Chekhov. I thought he nailed that role and he nailed that performance. Also, Simon Pegg as Scotty. He is great as Scotty. And Simon Pegg actually also, he also wrote this film with his writing partner. And he did a really good job in writing this. And you could tell that, he did a very good job in bringing that original Star Trek feel into this. He captured a lot of that original, the feel from the original Star Trek in his writing, and that came across quite clearly. What Simon Pegg did with the writing was capture that heart and the soul of the original TV show, and he brought it into Star Trek Beyond, and I think again, it was in Simon Pegg's writing that helped create that kind of feel, that kind of that warm fuzzy feel, and that feel of that old the original TV show. And again, it showed in the banter between Spock and Bones. and a lot of that kind of nostalgic feel from the original TV shows, is captured in the sort of the dialogue between characters like Bone and Spock, and it was just like watching the TV show, and he captured it so well. So, Star Trek Beyond, a film that I think we could probably nickname the Fast and Furious of the Star Trek franchise, because I personally feel that this is probably the most action-packed Star Trek movie to date. And there is a lot of action in this movie, and I liked the way the action was shot. I liked how Justin Lin continually moved the camera. At sometimes it could get a little bit too much and a bit disorientating, but I really, really liked how Justin Lin moved the camera during these action scenes, and it was constantly moving, and you were always moving with the action. And like I said, it got a bit too much at points. But I just really, really dug that style of direction and shooting. It having this camera kind of moving with the action, it actually immersed you into the action, and I just really, really like that. And Justin Lin, does a good job of putting his own sort of stamp on this movie, his own sort of mark and his own visual style. But he also did a very good job at implementing J.J. Abrams' visual style as well. There were moments in this film that actually looked like the previous two films, and because obviously J.J. has got a very distinct visual style, and you could tell sometimes, even if you watched a film and you wasn't aware of who the director was, and say it was J.J. Abrams, you could probably guess who it was, because that's how distinct his style is. And there were moments in this film where you could, whatever he did it purposely, I do not know, but there were moments where it still retained that visual style that J.J. Abrams had, but also very, very obviously and clearly this was Justin Lin's film. So we have Idris Elba playing the big bad guy in this film, Karl, and he delivers a really great performance as usual. Like, he's really, really good as this bad guy, and I like it. I like what he does with his voice and the way he looks at the camera, and the way he kind of just the way he kind of performs this character. I really, really liked it, and I was really impressed by that. But the bad guy was for the first two acts, was very sort of 2D, kind of cardboard cutout, as in he was after an artifact, which is obviously on the Enterprise, and that's about it. He's after the specific artifact, and his motives are never really entirely clear, and that bugged me a little bit, because it didn't really add any depth to his character, and he was just there. And in the third act, it's all revealed, and that's when it's like, now I understand his motives and what his role in this film, and I really liked what they did with that character by the end. So and it's not until the third act you fully understand then what Idris Elba's character Karl is all about, and his kind of mission and his what he is after, and it adds a lot of depth to his character. But you only really get that in that third act, which I was happy about, because I was starting to get a little bit worried by the second act, because this you had a really good villain performed by Idris Elba, but there was not a lot of motive to him, and it's not until the third act do you get a lot of substance and depth added to this character. I also liked that a lot of the scenery in this film was real, and everything looked practical. It wasn't there was CGI in this film, but once they're on the planets, mainly everything just felt real, and it looked real, and it reminded me of what J.J. Abrams did with Star Wars: The Force Awakens, where they kind of just dialed back on the CGI and just used a lot of practical effects. And this film has a lot of practical effects in it, and I really, really like that. And again, like, a lot of the scenes remind me of the TV show, or the old TV show, because you could just tell that everything was real and that you could touch it, and I'm glad they went down that route. It made it feel a lot more grounded and real, and I like that. Only ever use CGI when you really need to. CGI is a tool, but it's not there to be overused. There is such a thing as too much CGI, and this film did a great job in pulling back from it and only really using it when they really had to. And I think one of the reasons why this film really succeeds for me, and this is what gave me that warm, fuzzy, nostalgic feeling, is this film focuses on the crew of the Enterprise. You know, the relationships between Kirk, Spock, Bones, and this is one of the reasons why this film really does succeed. And at the end of the day, that's what Star Trek was all about, and it was about its characters, and it was about the crew of the Enterprise. And this film does that very, very well. It captures the heart and the soul of the TV show, and those first few movies with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, and Justin Lin captures that so well, and but also retaining that J.J. Abrams feel that he created with his own two movies, Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness, and Justin Lin really does a good job in balancing and all that, and it feels like, in a way, an extended Star Trek episode from the original show. That's what it felt like, and I think that's what gave me that kind of, that warm, fuzzy feeling, because it had a lot of heart, and there's a lot of warmth about it, because you're focusing on these characters and these relationships, and especially the relationship between Bones and Spock. I had a big smile on my face during this moment, or this segment in the film, in the second act, where it's just those two on this planet, and it kind of, because at the moment I'm currently watching the original series on Blu-ray. I'm currently on the third season. And so by watching this, it reminded me, and it felt so much of that TV show, and I really liked that. I gotta be honest, Justin Lin did a great job in capturing that nostalgic feel and of the original show, and what Star Trek was all about. There's also a moment in the film that I really like. Don't worry, I don't know. This is a spoiler-free review, but there's a moment which you see in the trailer. But when you actually see it play out in the film, one of my favourite moments in the film is where they're abandoning the ship. Obviously, they're stranded on this planet, and it's in the trailer quite briefly. But Kirk goes into the escape pod, and he blasts off from the ship, and you see the ship kind of going down. And I just really liked the way that was all shot. I loved the music during that scene, and it gave me, it made the hairs rise a little bit. It made me tingle, and I really, really liked the way how that scene and that moment was shot. And it's like in this film, Kirk, he's lost. He doesn't quite know where he wants to go. His direction in life. And by being on this 5-year journey, I think 3 years into this 5-year journey, there's a lot of stuff going on in his head, and he is lost, and he questioning, does he want to be a captain or not anymore? And I like that. And again, that's going back to focusing on these characters and the relationship with these characters, and I really, really liked that. There was also a nice moment, a little nod to the original cast in the film as well. I really liked that. Again, I think that was what kind of added to this emotional feeling that I had leaving the film. It's not my favourite out of the trilogy that's in the alternative timeline. It's not my favourite one, but I do think it's one of the most entertaining. I think I actually had a lot more fun with this film and enjoyed it. I enjoyed myself a lot more than I did in the previous two films. That's not me knocking the previous two films, because I enjoyed them as well. I enjoy them a lot, and I do really like them. But I think this was the most fun out of the trilogy in the alternative timeline so far, anyway. But yeah, a really, really, really good film. I highly recommend it. I don't know what it was with this film. I mean, it focuses on these characters, and it's that's what Star Trek's all about, is delivering these messages, and that's what the original series does. And I like, as I previously said, I'm currently watching the original series, and they do have a lot of these strong messages in them, or hidden in them, and I found that they had that in this particular movie, and I really, really like that. It it kind of touched me here a little bit. So yeah, I will be giving Star Trek Beyond an A-. I just want to mention, rest in peace, Leonard Nimoy. Also, rest in peace to Anton, who was taken from us way too early. Thank you very much for watching again. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. Please feel free to leave a comment, whether it be you disagreed or agreed with me, with my views on Star Trek Beyond. But yeah, thank you very much again for watching, and live long and prosper.